I have these two Crossfire transmitters. This is the full-blown 2-watt transmitter module for an external bay, JR, which stands for Futaba Junior Adapter. Anyway, like I say, this one does 2 watts, has built-in Bluetooth, has a head tracker port, external power, small screen on the back to do stuff with, a little joystick right here. It's just a really wonderful transmitter. This is the Crossfire Micro Tx V2 version 2. It puts out 1 watt. It has a Wi-Fi module built into it and a button on the back for a few functions, but not much. This is around $60 or so. This one is just over $200. So there's a lot of difference between the two. So to get things going with the new radio and stuff, I decided to update the firmware in these. The way we normally upgrade the firmware on Crossfire products and configure them is with this little standalone program called TBS Agent X. It's downloadable off the Team Black Sheep site under Shopping, Software, TBS Agent X. There's also a TBS Agent Lite there that is for OpenTX radios, so you can do this inside your radio. The problem is this is not what we need to use anymore. We need to use TBS Agent M. So you have to open Google Chrome. You can search for TBS Agent M. And there it is. And now we can link to the Crossfire and go into the transmitter. Now you can see on version 4 of the software we have 4 tabs: Device, General, My VTX, and About. Under General we have multi-bind, open, region, your max power, your dynamic power, your frequency, and your operating mode. Under VTX, oops, needed to set this to off. Under VTX, which is for doing smart audio through your RC receiver. I do mine through my flight controller, one step further down the hardware, which you can do it in the receiver. When you turn this to yes, you get some extra options that are your band, your channel, and your power. I'm going to set that back to no because I don't use it. The reason I mentioned these is they're about to change in version 6. Ah, the surprise. So if we come over here, I think I'm on version 4.1.1. August the 4th, 6 was released. August the 13th, update for the first version of 6 was released. We'll look at these release notes, see if we need to go to that version. Team Race menu, quickly switch. I don't do that. Smart audio control and output 1 and 4 for beta flight 69. Again, I do smart audio through the flight controller, not the receiver. Improved pit mode control for video transmitters. Well, I'll usually take any improvement. And to fix the bug in the video transmitter control not working on regular video transmitters. I don't know what they mean by regular video transmitters. Do they mean non-Crossfire video transmitters? So I'll assume I have a regular video transmitter, so I need that bug fix. So yes, I am going to go up to 609. You cannot move away from this software at all. And right here, action required, click link USB device. You have to connect to the device again. and then it'll start going through the flashing. There's 3 phases to the flashing. After the first phase, you're going to have to relink the USB again because it's going to reset the device, which causes it to disconnect from the USB port. So, almost to that point. Ta-da! Now you'll hear the device reset. There you go. And it's just the sound Windows 10 makes when USBs are connecting or disconnecting. And there it is, reconnecting after a reboot. So we need to link again, and it'll start the second phase of flashing. I couldn't do the flash to 6 in TBS Agent X. After I flashed these to 6 one time, even if I took them back down, downgraded them to a version 4 flavor, the version 6 did start showing up in TBS Agent X, but not the 609 version, my humble opinion, because it's not a public release. Only the public releases show in TBS Agent X. So I'm still pretty sold on using TBS Agent M now, and would recommend Agent M. Although Agent X can be used for configuring with some caveats, I will show those real quick. There's process 2 of 3 done. Now it'll go into the third and final phase of firmware flashing. This doesn't take very long at all. So when I got a look at version 6, I was pleasantly surprised by the new functions that Crossfire gave us. I don't know how many of them I will personally use, but anytime I see any kind of new toys, I love it. So I got a pleasant surprise when I moved up to version 6 that I didn't know I was going to get. So we'll look at that real quick. There, we're finished with the flashing process. 100% successful. If we go back arrow now, go back into this module, we'll see we have 5 tabs up there now. Device, RF power, frequency, team racing, and about. Wow. Our general and our VTX disappeared, but RF power, frequency, and team racing appeared. So we'll do team racing real quick. This seems to be switches for changing. I think it changes the video frequency real quick, so you can change it real quick in a race situation. I don't know, I haven't played with it yet, but it's new. I like new stuff. RF power, got dynamic power, and our oops, I have been playing with this. Got dynamic power and a power switch function in our max power. This has been here forever, and this transmitter you see can go up to 1 watt. So with dynamic power turned on, it will switch between low power and whatever max power you set here dynamically as it needs to based on link quality. So if I set this to 1 watt, the transmitter can turn down the power all the way to 25 milliwatts if it feels like it needs to, and then it has 4 more above that for a total of 5 different power levels it can go to. Now I set it at 1 watt when I go to the field max power, but when I'm at the bench and when I leave the field, I set it back down to 100. That's the default, but no sense in having all that power on the bench. Just produces heat. This new function, power switch, seems to be an RC channel, and when you choose it, that switch seems to be selectable by what power you want it to be on in the up, middle, and down position. 3 different powers. Me personally, I think I'll be just letting the dynamic power do it all along, but I can see a use for this. Although it does seem to turn off the dynamic power because it's no longer a max power there anymore. So if this wasn't set to 1 watt, it was set to 500, we would never get to max power. So I don't know that I'll use that, but I like that it's there. I was pleasantly surprised to find it. Frequency. This is where the multi-bind enabled and your frequency is now. So the general tab was broke out into 2 tabs, it looked like, with some extra functions in the power switch on the radio and this racing menu that was never there before. So I like all of that. So this is where everything should be done, in my humble opinion. Now, some things can still be done in TBS Agent X locally. If you're out in the field and you don't have a connection to the internet, or you don't have Google Chrome on your ground station, you might not be able to get to Agent M. So you might still use this. You can see in here, like I say, the 609 doesn't show, although that's what we're on right here. But that's, in my humble opinion, just because it's not a public release, it's a beta, and they only show stable releases in here. But you can downgrade here now. In here, we do have all those same tabs. Well, we have a VTX control here. I'll have to look at that in Agent M real quick. Let's just do that. I've got Google Chrome set up here, and I've got Agent M as its top page. Wow, don't see the VTX function here. Not sure why, but I don't see it here. But in TBS Agent X, Team Racing, Frequency, RF Power, and Video TX. Now we have an RX and a TX here. Now the strange part of this is when you set it to TX, there should be some functions down here. They don't show. If I go back and then come back into the module, and go back into that, you can see these options have popped up here where I can set a pit mode control. It's on a switch. Don't know what switch it's on yet because this doesn't populate. And then here's a band and a channel. Must be this switch. If I go back out and come back in, Video TX. Yep. Here this is popped up. Pit mode switch, channel 5, whereas this down here has to do with the smart audio. If I go back to RX, even if I click Save Settings, you notice these options don't go away. But if I go back out to the main menu and come back in, oops, went into the Wi-Fi portion of that transmitter instead by accident. All those switches are gone now. The same thing is going to happen over here in RF power. If I say, yeah, I want to do this on the switch, channel 1, well, I don't get my options here until I go back to the main menu and come back in. Now if I go to RF power, I do see my up, mid, and down position on the switch. Just small problems with the two softwares. If I go out and come back in, go back to RF power, those go away and I'm back to max power. I'm going to put this back to transmitter so I can get those new functions. Come back in real quick. There they are. I go to bottom and save settings. Then if I leave this and go back to TBS Agent M on the Micro TX, make sure it's linked. I don't have the Video TX tab up here. RF power, power switch, frequency, team racing. Nope. So I guess there's going to have to be a combination of these two programs to completely configure this Crossfire hardware. So I'm just reporting this. This is all new. It just happened in the last couple of weeks. So I'm sure Team Black Sheep is working on it. And here they are. That's just weird. I'm going to set this back to the default just so I don't confuse things. Oops. Went back into the Wi-Fi again because these two switched positions on me. So now we're back to defaults, basically the way I want it to be. I don't know why Video TX won't show an Agent M. So again, I'm just reporting these things. I am not speaking to them. So this is all the, this is my main big transmitter, and you see I upgraded it to 6.9. These are some of my Crossfire Nano receivers. Here's a Crossfire Nano Diversity, and you'll notice they've all been upgraded to version 6.09 because I want those new functions. I don't know that I will use them, but I just like new toys. So that's the pleasant surprise I got when I upgraded all my Crossfire devices firmware to the current version. Version 6 has new toys in it. So understand that Agent M and Agent X are two different programs. One's standalone and one's a Google Chrome app. You have to have Agent M, but there's some functions you can't do in Agent M. Some functions you can't do, well, you can't do the firmware flash to a non-public version with Agent X. I hope that's not too confusing, but I did want to report there were some new features to Crossfire version 6. Alright guys, thanks for watching.